The laws on gang stalking are federal. They're made so that things that I have gone through in the last 3 years don't happen to people like me. The laws for disabled people are created specifically so that these things don't happen to people like me. But these things still happen to people like me over slander. There's a reason that we're supposed to have due process of law. However, if nobody cares, the courts aren't going to care. The police don't care. If you're hated, the police will do what it takes to make you happy. The news, the volunteers, and the police in Boulder did everything in their power to make sure that I was hated and to make sure that those who tried to help me were too scared to do so. You're damn right I speak out, and I call all of those people cowards for a reason. There is too much bureaucratic red tape concerning jurisdiction. If a child molester or a rapist can get away just by hopping across a jurisdictional boundary, that allows that predator to go free to harm many others. This is the same issue that I have with rescuing women who aren't willing to come forward to the police. When James did what he did to Jamie in 2016, I pleaded with Jamie to come forward to go to the police, especially with the extensive bruising that she had. She said she was just glad to be out of there. But she was also busy playing. According to James's side of the story, it was he who was assaulted by Jamie. Now, who was it that ultimately was punished the most about this? That would be me. Jamie used her fear of James repeatedly to get what she wanted out of me. And then she hid from James, who apparently they had been getting back together. She hid from James the fact that she was in contact with me, and she hid from me the fact that she was in contact with James to begin with. Her son, last time I was in South Dakota, her son was actually the one that told me that Jamie was still in contact with James. Jamie had a boyfriend at the time, and his name was Todd Harmon. Well, James didn't know about Todd Harmon. I wonder if Todd Harmon knew about James. Yes, Jamie and Todd Harmon were dating. Yes, they kissed in front of me. Yes, he came over with his children and played with Jamie's son and with Jamie. They even had a tickling match in the middle of the floor. Of course I was there for it. When I was being gang stalked, Jamie didn't care. When I was in South Dakota and I was telling Amanda Engeline that James Payton and his family were harassing me on Facebook and doing everything in their power to destroy evidence, she told me two things that I didn't personally believe. She said that Jamie was back together with James, which Jamie said was not the truth. And I believe Jamie, which I obviously should not have. And Amanda also told me that it was Jamie who was going through on my Facebook and complaining about the comments that I made about James. One of the comments that I was on a 30-day ban for was because I had said that I didn't have it in me to kill James. That's right, I got a 30-day Facebook ban for saying that I couldn't kill somebody. Imagine that. The evidence that I have here on my YouTube, these hundreds of conversations that I saved, prove that the stories that I was telling are true. It's easier to record these people in a conversation than it is to go through hundreds and hundreds of screenshots that I have to go through and take. I have to go find the conversation, which means I have to go to the message box and I have to scroll all the way through until I find the person that I'm looking for. And then I have to scroll through all of our messages between each other to find the parts in specific that I'm looking for. Kim Jepsen is the sister of Jason Jepsen. She's the one who Jason tried to chop off her feet. Now that is in our Facebook Messenger, so it'll be easy to scroll through and find. However, Terry Jepsen, me and her had a conversation that I recorded, so that made it easier. In order to stop the abuse, I needed people to come forward in public, otherwise the police weren't going to do their jobs, or they had to go in with me to make the police do their jobs. They had to tell the police what it is that they knew. I recorded these conversations with people like Erin Cockerham, who claimed that she tried, and Cara Mia, aka Cara Rogers, who claimed that she tried. Now, the thing with Cara Rogers is that she was doing the same thing as Kara Johnson Miles. She was working with the Bollingers. Well, the two stepmothers. See, it was Cara Mia who got me in contact with Danica Garner. Or rather, the other way around. Danica Garner messaged me first. And her friends worked together to harass, threaten, and stalk me while she was pretending to be my friend. Just trying to pull information that would exonerate her and her wrongdoing and make it all okay. I literally had to break the law to try to force the FBI to do their goddamn jobs because I was being gang stalked. The evidence is here. There's a Facebook video or a YouTube video called Four Peaches the Liar, and I'm gonna post that in the description of this video. I'm making this video on my phone, so it'll take a while for it to download onto the internet. But I will post that link in the link description because it has in the comment section over 100 conversations with witnesses that verify every bit of my story. The fact that I was telling the truth all along. Things that these people should have said. Now, one thing that is unfortunate, and I don't know how it happened, that video that I recorded with that officer earlier, there's no sound on it. This pisses me off to no end. I know I don't sound pissed off, and I had a meltdown, so the chemicals that are released after a meltdown, which, by the way, a meltdown is not because of hatred, it's because of fear. The chemicals that are released, they prevent you from really experiencing any negative emotions for a day or two. The conversation that I had with Officer Holloway earlier should be on his body cam. So I'm going to attempt to requisition that so that I can post it up on YouTube here. That's the thing, is that when it comes to gang stalking, you have to have somebody who actually cares. The one person who cared enough to actually go in with me is Molly Smith, and I'm gonna call her later and see if she can set up a time to go in with me, although she is not aware of most of the stuff that has gone on because she has a personal life. And she wasn't involved in most of it, with the exception of being willing to go in with me to talk to the police, where most people weren't. Most people were too afraid. A lot of the people who are too afraid to go in with me, they're afraid of their own criminal records. They're afraid of their own history. They're afraid that nobody will listen to them because of that history. Well, regardless of your history, the truth is the fucking truth. I was prevented from going to court illegally. They used jurisdiction as their excuse to compartmentalize the gang stalking by police and by the public. Gang stalking that started with Natalie Bollinger and her sister lying in Chesapeake, Virginia, and was compounded by Matty Boa, and even further by the news media and their one-sided coverage. The fact is, I went to Miss Peaches for help. I went to Dan Fabert for help. Let's talk about the people I went to for help before Natalie died. I went to Nicole Peralta for help. I went to Kayla Trujillo, aka Peaches, for help. I went to Joanna Taylor Smith for help. I went to Derek Parrish for help. I went to Tamara from Region 1 for help. I went to Jeff Ritter from Colorado Coalition of the Homeless for help. I went to Kara Heller from Colorado Coalition for the Homeless for help. I went to the Dual County Sheriff's Department for help. I went to Officer Abel Ramos for help. I went to several other officers in Colorado for help. And I also went to the Chesapeake Police Department for help, because I haven't had a safe place where I could receive mail. Oh, I also went to Brenda Dickinson for help. Because of Natalie's death, I had everything that I needed in order to be able to defend myself and in order to work on my case stolen from me. And my predators all got away with it because of slander against me and the fact that I was illegally prevented from showing evidence. I was taken in on suicide watch repeatedly to prevent me from showing evidence, to prevent me from getting the help that I needed. What Candace Bondurant did when I told her that I was going to go after Michael Beard in court was go out of her way to frame me and to lie out her ass. I knew she was up to something fucking screwy when she was lying outright in text messages between her and I. I knew that she was going to post that shit public because of how much she was lying. And she's not the only one who did that. Now let's cover the lies that she told. Natalie and Alicia Bollinger slandered my name before Natalie's death, but they weren't the only ones. Now after her death, when Candace did what she did, she claimed that I had access to the internet for a whole week while I was there. Well, I wasn't there for a whole week, and I only had access to the internet while her kids and her were there. That's because the internet at Candace's house was on her phone. So during the day, when I needed to be able to get a hold of police officers, when I needed to be able to get a hold of my caseworkers when I needed to be able to get a hold of all of these people that I needed to get a hold of. I couldn't. My phone barely worked while I was there. Making phone calls with people, it was fuzzy if it connected at all. I spoke with Brandon Jepson while I was there, and he told me that when the police assault somebody the way that they do, it's called pain compliance. And they have different techniques that they're taught. Like an officer will get on either side of the person while they're in handcuffs, and one of them will pull the suspect to one side, and the officer on the other side, that's their signal to slam that person down on the ground. That's called feigning an attack. Police are taught to do this in order to take in a suspect who hasn't done anything wrong, because they have an assumption that this person might be guilty, might have done something, might have committed a crime, but they have nothing to hold them on, so they have to manufacture something to hold them on. When you tell on bad police officers, you were gang-stalked by the police. When you tell on a family member of another family who did something wrong, you were gang-stalked by their family, like I was by Derek Jepson and by Cammy Fred Amon, who married into the Jepson family. Now mind you, I love all the Jepsons, I really do. Derek Jepson is adopted. Cammy married into the family. And this was over Jackie McKenzie, aka Jackie Payne Ballou, who gave birth to a Jepson. The actual Jepsons haven't done me any wrong. Dana Jepson has not done me any wrong. Cammy Jepson, different Cammy, this is the daughter of Gary Jepson, has not done me any wrong. Rory Jepson never did me wrong. Jason Jepson never did me wrong. Matter of fact, Jason Jepson even wrote a report for me that the police wouldn't take. Now, it's probably somewhere in that pile of evidence upstairs. It might be anyway. But the thing is, a safe place for me included a safe place for that evidence. Having to constantly move from place to place to place to place with that evidence. Going homeless so often with it. When you're homeless, your shit just gets stolen. That's just how it is. The police will make any excuse to make your life hell because you're supposedly the scum of the earth, because you're homeless. When in reality, you're homeless because you started off at 18, in most cases, being what's called a cast-off. It's because you aged out of the system. You turn 18, you're dropped off with whatever clothes you have on your back. You don't have an ID. You don't have a driver's license. You don't have a vehicle. You don't have a job. You don't have a roof over your head. You have nothing. Your consolation prize for going through years of abuse in the system is to get dropped off and victimized by police immediately upon turning 18. Sometimes you get lucky, you live in an area where there's so many homeless that the police aren't busy looking for you in specific. But sometimes you end up in a place like Chapel, Nebraska, where you're the only homeless person, so everything bad that happens is your fault. Being gang-stalked by Cammy Fred Amon Jepson and Derek Jepson and Jackie McKenzie and her friends, like Ashley Bowman, who used to be Ashley Woodman. You're goddamn right I'm gonna speak out. These people don't like things that I had to do to defend myself. I'm fine with that. I'm fine with that because those are things that I had to do because I didn't have family. And while they're willing to slander my name and harass me and threaten me and gang stalk me, I never asked anyone to gang stalk anybody. I asked them for help putting a stop to this. And you know what? Asking people to tell the truth is not a federal offense. Gang stalking is.